Imagine this. You've just won the biggest war in history. You've been away for 10 long years. You're finally heading home. A hero, a king, ready for peace, for family, for food. You step through your palace doors, and your wife greets you with a smile. She lays out a royal feast. But here's the catch. That dinner, it's your last. Yeah, we're talking about the murder of Agamemnon, one of the wildest true crime stories from ancient Greece. But before the bloodshed, we need to talk about what that dinner might have actually looked like. Because the foods the ancient Greeks and Romans ate weren't just meals. They were statements of power, revenge, and sometimes prophecy. So grab a plate, let's eat like an ancient Roman, and maybe die like a Mycenaean king. All right, so picture this. It's around 1200 BCE, Mycenae, the Bronze Age version of a luxury city. Agamemnon's been off fighting the Trojan War for years. Troy's in ruins. He's coming home with treasure, glory, and a new woman, Cassandra, the prophetess he captured. And waiting for him, his wife, Clytemnestra. She's been stewing, and not just the lamb. She's furious. Agamemnon sacrificed their daughter years earlier to get the gods' favor in battle. So yeah, she's got revenge on her menu tonight. But before we dive into the murder, let's talk about what's actually on that table. Because people in Mycenae, and later the Romans, were obsessed with feasting. A good meal wasn't just about food, it was about status. If you were rich, your table groaned under roasted meats, lamb, goat, boar. The smell of olive oil, garlic, honey, and herbs like thyme and oregano filled the air. Bread baked on hot stones, bowls of olives and figs, maybe a cup of strong, sweet wine, diluted, because drinking it straight was considered barbaric. For poorer folks, it was barley bread, porridge, beans, and whatever vegetables were in season, lentils, onions, leeks. Simple, filling, but not glamorous. Now, fast forward to Rome a few hundred years later, and things get fancy. Romans turned eating into an art form. Dinner parties could last hours, sometimes all night. Picture guests reclining on couches, being fed by servants. The rich dined on flamingo tongues, dormice stuffed with nuts and honey, peacock brains, even jelly made from fish bones. Yep, fish bones. Delicious, right? But the secret ingredient wasn't the food, it was the flex. Every dish screamed, "Look how wealthy I am." It was luxury as performance, and food was political. Hosting a good feast could win you allies. Hosting a bad one could ruin your reputation. Now, back to Agamemnon. He walks into the palace, probably expecting that same grand feast. Roasted meats, spiced wine, laughter echoing through marble halls. And Clytemnestra plays her part perfectly. She welcomes him home. She draws him a bath. She offers him wine, maybe sweetened with honey, maybe spiced with saffron. But she's got more than herbs on her mind. According to legend, once he's bathed and relaxed, she covers him with a fine net, some say a royal robe with no openings, and strikes him down with an axe. Blood splatters the feast. The food, the wine, the victory, all of it turns to horror. The poet Aeschylus said his death was like a sacrifice, poetic justice for the daughter he sacrificed years before. And when you think about it, food has always been tied to sacrifice in these stories. You offer to the gods, you feast to honor the dead, and sometimes the table becomes the battlefield. So, what did the Romans take from all this? Well, they were obsessed with Greek culture, art, philosophy, mythology, and yes, their food traditions. Roman banquets often recreated Greek legends. A dish might symbolize a myth, a story, even a moral. You weren't just eating, you were performing culture. Imagine sitting at a Roman banquet and someone says, "This dish is in honor of Agamemnon's Last Supper." It's storytelling through food. Every bite connected to power, betrayal, or fate. And the Romans were masters of indulgence. Some emperors, like Nero, hosted feasts that went on for days. Others, like Elagabalus, reportedly served pearls dissolved in vinegar just to show off. Meanwhile, the average Roman citizen was eating humble meals: bread, cheese, olives, maybe some salted fish. And yet, even they dreamed of the banquets they'd never taste. But here's the real twist. When archaeologists dig up Roman kitchens, what they find isn't exotic at all. It's bones of chickens, fish, pigs, pots with traces of olive oil and herbs. The food of Rome wasn't alien, it was familiar. Simple ingredients, incredible technique. And that's what made it last for centuries. Now, let's circle back to that fateful Mycenaean night. Agamemnon's death wasn't just a murder, it was a warning. Every meal in ancient times carried meaning. Who you ate with, what you served, and how you served it. It all told a story about power and trust. And sometimes, it told a story about betrayal. So next time you sit down for dinner, remember, to the ancients, every feast was a stage. Every bite was a symbol. And for one unlucky king, that home-cooked meal was the final act. Pause. Now I got to ask, if you were in Clytemnestra's shoes, would you have done the same? Or would you forgive a man who sacrificed your child in the name of glory? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And hey, if you enjoyed this dive into ancient drama and dinner tables, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Because next time, we're finding out what the Vikings ate before they raided a village. Spoiler, it's not what you think. Thanks for watching. And remember, history isn't dusty old scrolls. It's blood, bread, and a whole lot of stories worth tasting.